stop checking your phone the first hour of the day.
I love that.
And that's like sacred time for me, because for me, I think that if you want to be an elite mental performer or, real life superhero, you don't want to start off by checking the phone. We talked about this in the past because you're training yourself to be reactive, right? You're getting your dopamine, you're frying your nervous system with all these likes, shares, comments, and everything else like that.
You've said, if I'm not mistaken, you sell your sovereignty.
We do.
If you start by checking your phone. I love that so much.
Because you're reacting and firefighting to everyone's everything that everyone wants. So you're not really you're not living, you've heard this many times, right? If you want to, you win the first hour of the day to win the rest, you win the day, right? And so anything you want to stop, so like say you want to stop checking your phone, right, in the morning, then there's certain, that's a behavior, right? But there's so many other elements to be able to change because most behaviors don't stick, right? And so when I'm thinking about when I want to transform or transcend or make a real positive change, I'm looking at all the other areas of ourself. So I'm looking at, for example, our environment. Are people setting up their environment to win? So change doesn't just happen at this level of behavior, but you have to change the environment. So for example, if you want to stop eating a certain food, it helps to be able to have not have that food in your home, right? So you change the environment. If you want to read more, it helps to set up your environment where you have the books readily available, where you're going to read it because they perform, how I approach habit change is this area of motivation and this trigger, right? You want a trigger to help remind you to do the behavior, right? So are you setting up the environment in a way that triggers the behavior that you want? But not only the environment is like the when and the where, but it's also behavior is also the capabilities, because a lot of people want to change a behavior, but they're not training in the abilities. What I love a lot about your work and your passion is the area of be able to those acquisition, new abilities for yourself, and also that could also benefit the rest of the world. But most people aren't training those habits and those capabilities. But also another level of change that we need to address. Let's say someone's watching this and they have something they want to change, and it's not sticking. Then maybe it's the environment. Maybe you could check about your habits, but maybe it's your beliefs and your values. Some people will not get themselves to read every day because they don't value reading every single day, right? Some people won't, let's say the behavior they want to change is, we did a podcast on how to remember names. I could teach them step by step on how to remember the name of most people that they meet, yet they won't do it because they don't value it, or because that's not important to them, or they don't believe that they can. Right? Just like we talked about earlier, saying your brain is like a supercomputer, and your self-talk is a program to run. So if you tell yourself not go to remember names, you will not remember the name of the next person you meet because you program your supercomputer not to. They don't have a belief that enables that. So when I say all behavior is belief-driven, if you want to do this behavior, whatever it is, journal, whatever it is, then you need a belief that allows that to happen. So for example, in 1954, Roger Bannister, he broke the 4-minute mile, right? And so, which is amazing, right? Throughout human history, nobody could run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Now, if you look into it, how he was able to do it is he would visualize himself crossing the finish line, looking at the clock, and it says 3:59, because he knew that success is an inside-out process. That first it had to happen in here in order for it to happen out there, right? Dr. Wayne Dyer has a famous phrase where it's not, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. It's like, I'll see it when I believe it, right? Because it's the opposite, right? And so I always like modeling the outliers where most people kind of dismiss them. I was like, well, what's going on there that allows this person to get this kind of result, right? And so with Roger Bannister, he saw it in here, be able to produce it outside, just like any innovator or inventor or writer or any creator, right? But what was interesting is after that, what happened? Nobody could do it from the beginning of humanity. All of a sudden, one person does it. What happens after that? Everyone starts doing it. And so that's the thing. Now, what happened? Was there a big change that year in, training methodology and nutrition? Or no, it was a change of belief, right? Because the belief back then was, if you ran a mile in less than 4 minutes, not only would you die, it was your heart would explode in your chest. And think about that would, and I'm a runner, right? That would keep me not just running, that wouldn't keep me from running for me, that would keep me from running, period, right? And so my thing is that was a change of a reference. That shook up a belief. So my goal with people when it comes to learning is get themselves to do something they never thought they could do, and then it opens up another possibility. It literally opens up their nervous system for something, what else could be possible. Now, I would also say that it all plays together where it's not easy necessarily just to change a belief overnight. Now that could be a belief because it's like a meta belief about what beliefs are. But people, there's technologies like Inception, right? Like a dream of a dream of a dream. But I do believe that we have more we have more power to influence our thoughts and our beliefs. And so there are a lot of tools and techniques out there that are resources. Like when I grew up, we didn't have we had no money, right? I had no education because I was very learning challenged. I didn't know anybody, right? So I feel like it's not, when people that's where they'll go though. When there's a stopgap between where they are and where they want to be, they'll say, oh, I don't have the money, or I don't have the education, or I don't have the intelligence, I don't have the network, or anything else like that. And what you know, as for all incredible success you've had and the value you've created for the world, is that it's not about resources, right? Because we know a lot of people who didn't have any resources that were able to impact the world. It's about our internal resources. And what I'm saying is optimizing our environment, optimizing our behaviors, our capabilities, our beliefs and our values, and our identity, right? That at the highest level, our identity, because you can't just change your belief or your values or your behavior even if you don't believe you're that kind of person. That's why I kind of always go to the superhero mythos, because I want people to claim that identity. I call it the superhero you, that version of ourselves that we're not waiting for Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman. It's like, you are Wonder Woman, you are Batman, you are Superman. It's just we have to commit ourselves to be able to unleashing. My identity, I mean, obviously this is a work in progress, right? I would say that I would start with they call it the two smallest words in the English language, but they're the two most powerful words in the English language. It's I am, right? I am, because whatever you put after that determines your destination or your destiny, right? And I think your identity is who you believe you are. And I feel like when we're talking about playing to the edge of our limits and really playing there and living in that place where we're stretching, I do believe, and I get inspired every time I see your Insta story. You're like, it's like 4:30 and you're working out, you're doing your work, but that's who you are, right? You don't have to fight it because you can't imagine yourself not doing that. And that's the level of that I think is what's most important. So I would think about going through an exercise, and I've done this with friends. I've had them sit, or in groups, we do these conferences and such, and I have people pair up with someone they don't know, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna do an exercise, I am, and they're gonna talk about, they're literally gonna fill in the blanks for 3 minutes until I call time.
Wow.
So you have to go like, and you could do this right now, like if you were to fill in I am blank, like I would say, I am a student, I am a teacher, I am a son, I am all this, and
right.
But eventually I'll get to a point where I don't know what else to say, and that's what the real interesting answers come out of, right? Because it's a great way for networking and knowing somebody else, but it also shows us this really big tapestry of our life to the point that we've gone to right now, where I relate to these aspects of ourselves. And I think it's a nice exercise when we talk about self-awareness being a superpower, really knowing who we think we are. Because if we don't believe that we're a public speaker, or we're a great parent, or we're a great learner or genius, then we'll never be able to reach our full potential, because that will always be the ceiling that we bump up against. And also, when I'm talking to individuals and I'm interviewing them on our podcast, or just talking to individuals like this, I would be thinking about, especially high performers, because I think that genius leaves clues, and I believe that it can be replicated if you're willing to put in the work and the learning and the discipline to be able to do that. Then I want to know their beliefs. I want to know what they value. Because if I don't know that, if I'm just working on step-by-step hacks and everything else, it won't stick, because it is missing a huge part. So I want to model like their behaviors, their values, their beliefs, and also who they think they are, that allows them to accomplish those amazing things in their life.